Okay, Mikelle Deck, founder of Aligned Minds Consulting. We were chatting this morning, Scott and I, getting prepped for the interview, and I said, what does mindfulness actually mean? It's a buzzword.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's what you focus on.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Great question. Mindfulness is all about being in the present moment, right? So often we're worried about the past, and so often we're worried about the future. But mindfulness is all about being present in the moment, right? Because how often do we have a million things going on? And how often do we have so many things on our plate? It's so hard to find the time to just be present with ourselves. So mindfulness is all about just being in the present moment. And then you have these tools to help you do that, right? Meditation, EFT tapping, yoga. So mindfulness is just all about trying to remain in the present moment and not worry about what's next, which is very hard for us to do as humans, as Americans, as parents, right?
He's looking. That's why he wanted me, because he knows this is something that I struggle with all the time. Like, he will look at me and he'll be like, "What are you thinking about?" And I'm like, "What if?" And he goes, "But what if it doesn't happen? What if?" I'm constantly consumed with worrying about things in the future.
Yeah.
I don't so much worry about things that have already happened, because I know I can't control that. But I have this feeling that I can control what happens in the future, and it overtakes me at times.
Yeah,
So
that happens more than you think. So that's what being mindful is, just trying to stay focused in the present moment, which is very hard for us.
Years ago, I don't know if it's his quote or he stole it, but Dr. Kevin Elko said, just be where your feet are.
Yes, be grounded.
Yeah, and with this world of digital distractions
Absolutely.
that we live in, it's hard. It's harder than ever. And it's all the next generation knows. And I say the next generation cautiously, because if we leave our cell phone at home, I get to the stop sign, I'm like, turn around, gotta go get it. I can't live without the cell phone, right? Even as a 48-year-old male. So it's not just the kids, it's all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your journey. When did this become so important for you? How did you know this was your path?
Yeah, I would say starting in my early 20s, I turned to mindfulness myself, just for my own healing journey. I was deep in a meditation practice. Around the same time, I went back to school to be a teacher. And I was working with the Young Scholars program in the Utica City School District, and then COVID hit, right? So as anyone knows, parents, educators, COVID impacted student mental health, immensely, right? So I was in the classroom upon returning back to in-person learning, just trying to reach for anything. I couldn't, in good faith, tell these students, hey, you need to work on your assignments, or where is this homework, when I knew what they were struggling with, right? So I was kind of just reaching for anything and everything. So I started implementing these mindfulness tools that worked for myself in the classroom. And to my surprise, but not so much to my surprise, they worked, right? And I was, taken aback. So I decided to take a step back from teaching and really dive deep into mindfulness, mental health, how it affects our brains, the science base behind it, the, mindfulness-based strategies that we can apply with our students. And upon returning back, I changed my title with the Young Scholars to Student Support Coordinator, and they've been great. They've allowed me to do these mindfulness techniques with students in the classrooms. And then in January, I launched Aligned Minds to open it up to anyone and everyone, students ages 6 through 17, students in other school districts. And it's been great being able to do both what I love, working with students in education, but also applying these mindfulness tools that I believe are so important for our teenagers and our kids today.
And this is something that students very much need. And I can say this as a past educator, that as educators, our days are packed with curriculum. We are responsible for teaching curriculum. Whether or not we know a child needs something socially or emotionally, it's so hard for us to provide that as well.
Yeah.
So I love that the direction that you've gone in. And I want to talk a little bit about people can come to you on an individual basis.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Parents can get a hold of you if they feel like their child would benefit, but also schools can get in touch with you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what you offer and the different things that you...
So parents and caregivers can hire me for my services. I get to know their student on a personal level. I get to know what they're struggling with, whether it's anxiety or depression or low self-confidence, right? Could be a multitude of different things. And I put together, 5 sessions for this student personalized to them based on their interests, based on what they like, but also based on what it is that they're dealing with.
What they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So after I put those sessions together, what we do is I implement those mindfulness tools within those 5 sessions.
Now, is it in person? Is it
in person?
Okay.
Or virtual. I prefer in person just because I like to have that connection with the students that I'm working with. But I have had virtual students in the past.
Okay.
So parents and caregivers can hire me for my services, but I also work with school districts. So I work with the Young Scholars Program in the Utica City School District right now, and they have hired me to work with their middle school students to do the same thing.
So important.
Yeah. So I'm applying what I know, what I know works. These mindfulness techniques for our students who are struggling with their mental health. But also any student who wants to use it, right? You don't have to be struggling to practice mindfulness. So I also can work with athletic teams too. We talked, in the beginning about athletes who their mental game is just as important as their physical game. So I work one-on-one, parents and caregivers. I work with school districts, and I can work with athletic teams as well.
Now,
That's awesome.
Do you push into the school, or is this okay?
I push into the schools with the Young Scholars Program. Okay. I'm working at Donovan and JFK Middle School in the Utica City School District. So I'm in the school around 2-3 days a week, and then I provide after-school programming for them too. So depending on what they're dealing with, like if they're a big Regents exam or test coming up, we'll do like a stress relief program after school. I do Wellness Wednesdays, which is really fun. And we just talk about different things that our kids are dealing with, right? Like social media burnout or bullying or low self-confidence. And each session has a topic. Body image, anxiety, trying to understand what it is that they're dealing with, right? But also applying these tools. Like I love EFT tapping. We can talk a little bit more about that at the end. I love yoga, breath work. Trying to teach them these tools at the same time.
It is so important, and I'm so glad that we are shifting to this sort of mindset where the social and the well-being of yourself and your feelings are important. My daughter just went to a physical yesterday at her pediatrician's office, and not only do they give the parent that long form that you have to fill out as your insurance information up to date, whatever, they had her fill out a survey on whether or not she feels anxious at certain points. And I love that. And when the pediatrician came in, she said, just so that you know, every year you're going to have to fill this out because you may be at a different point in your life or things might happen where you feel differently. Yeah. So I'm seeing this not only with you, but like everywhere. It is definitely something that we need to put in the forefront, and we need to pay attention to our kids and how they're feeling and how they deal with their feelings. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and there's a strong case can be made that there's nothing more important.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, what good is math and science and
like,
grades if mentally you're not prepared to go out into the world.
Exactly.
Or not okay with yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the pattern I kept seeing was, how can I tell this student, oh, you failed your math test, knowing what I know that they're going through at home or what they're dealing with in their minds. Like, let's get your mind right so that way you can perform your best academically, perform your best physically.
I've got so much.
No, I know.
I'm gonna try to layer this logically. So the 2-part question. The first one is, how much resistance do you get, if any, from the kids as far as different techniques? Like, are they open to yoga and tapping and meditation, or do you have to sell them on why it's important?
That is a good question. I believe in connecting with them first and foremost, building a relationship with the student, because some of these things can be uncomfortable for them. I recognize that being a teenager, maybe you don't want to get into like cat-cow pose in front of your, your classmates. Like, I totally understand. So I build a relationship with them, and I really do connect with them. I really do care about them, and I show them that. So that way they feel comfortable doing these things. Surprisingly, I haven't met resistance yet. Yeah. I'm sure maybe one day down the road I'll get some resistance.
And I think that's what's cool about this age group is they typically are open-minded, unlike adults. Yeah. When I'm talking to peers in their 30s, 40s, 50s about meditation, they're like, "Oh, I don't have like a robe or a mountain with smoke to sit on," and I'm like, "No, that's not how it works." But the kind of the deeper question here is, you're getting to know these kids on a deep level.
Yeah.
And you're discovering some things about them that, aren't comfortable sometimes, right? And they have to deal with. So I guess, is there a line? Like where at what point do you say, hey, I need to move this to someone else, or do you? Like, how does that work?
That's a great question. Working in the school districts, there are social workers and other therapists involved, and then they have outside resources like therapists involved too. As a mandated reporter, if they tell me that they are thinking about causing harm to themselves or somebody else, I have to bring somebody else in. So within the Young Scholars Program, there's a licensed social worker, which is great. So I can refer students to them as well. When I work with the students outside of the school district, I have open communication with the parents, and I let them know, right, if I feel like there's something alarming happening or something that's going on. And they know that I will talk to their parents or caregivers too, which is important. Right. So that's a really great question as far as where's the line drawn, because you're right, I do get to know them on a deep level. So I want them to know, hey, if there's something going on, if there's, you're thinking about causing harm to yourself or somebody else, I do have to bring somebody else into our circle here. I can teach them the tools. I can teach them mindfulness. I can teach them how to regulate their nervous systems. But this is also a great tool that can go along with therapy too. Some families don't really like the idea of therapy, so it's great that I can teach them these things. Some kids do well in both. You have your mindfulness techniques, but you're also going to need some therapy and counseling along with it. So it kind of depends on the student and the situation. Yeah.
And I love that you use tools and exercises to deal with anxiety or whatever, the child may be experiencing instead of medication. Because that has become a huge epidemic for adults. And I feel like it starts at the adolescent level because it is normal to feel anxiety. That means you're human. Yeah. Like when you are in certain situations that give you anxiety, that means that you're feeling, and so I think it's an alarm for a lot of people, and they go, I shouldn't be anxious, but that's totally normal to be anxious. And you are teaching kids breath work and certain things that you can do to naturally calm your body and cope with a situation that you may be in. So
absolutely.
It's awesome. Yeah. And I'm so excited about this.
Well, and there's different levels of anxiety, right?
I will say that
too. the stigma, what's most exciting about, I think, present day versus when we grew up, is there was a stigma, right? Like if you felt something, it was weakness, and you couldn't, and we had, I don't know what we called our parents, were they latchkey or how, we never saw our parents, but when we did, it was like we had a problem, it's like just figure it out, take care of it,
exactly.
Don't bother me with it. So maybe those are just my parents, I don't know. But no, there's healthy anxiety, and then there's debilitating anxiety, and then levels in between. So obviously you're able to educate and help kids understand that.
And that's where the personalization comes in for these sessions, right? There are some students who I would consider that need extra support, and we have to, navigate these sessions that I'm doing with them in a different way. And then there are students who maybe don't have anxiety at all, but they just want to, one day, maybe we'll have some anxiety, or one day we'll maybe, go through a transitional phase, like going off to college, or, something new that is difficult for their nervous system. So just trying to teach them these tools to regulate their nervous systems now is very important, because they can take this with them forever, for a lifetime.
Go ahead.
All right. It's so important in youth sports. We talked about this a little bit before, like off camera. All of our athletes need to be practicing mindfulness in order to be successful on the field, on the court. How do you bring these tools to them? And what does that look like for a sports team? Like, I think this would be so beneficial for any coach.
I agree. I think just learning the sport, right? I was an athlete. I grew up, my fiance's been an athlete. So we've grown up around sports, and we know that the pressure that an athlete can go through can sometimes, again, be debilitating.
Yes.
So it's important to show up, at the practices. And again, I want to personalize. What is it? Talk to the coach. What is it that your team needs, right? Or do you have any specific, do you have any specific players who could be a standout, but something's holding them back mentally? Because that happens quite a bit. You have an athlete who could be so successful, but it's just their mental game is off. So showing up to the practices, setting time aside, an hour after their 2-hour practice, or, they have a 2-hour practice, and then for the last hour, I can come in and we could do some yoga. We can do breath work. before you go up to bat, this is the breathing you can do, right?
Yes.
Or when you're on the foul line, like this is the type of breathing that you can do. And personalizing it to their sport, personalizing it to their team, right? And getting them to also bond as a team.
Even like once a week, like football players do film.
Yeah,
like why don't you have this as part of your weekly practice?
And trying to teach them to change those negative thoughts to a positive, right? When the pressure's on, oh, I'm going to like miss this shot. Or no, I have the ability to make this shot. I can do this, right? Teaching them to reframe those negative thoughts to positive is huge for athletes.
And even a lot of the kids that we have interviewed here, they say that they have the ability to block the crowd out. Like
That's
it's just
huge
them.
Too. Parents,
it's just
crowd,
them and the batter or them on the foul line.
Yeah.
And they don't even hear what's going on around them.
Isn't that
huge.
So interesting? Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. My kids will tell you that, the negative self-talk, if there's one thing
that drives us crazy.
that I immediately stop is the negative. And we do it, without even realizing it. We've been golfing quite a bit. It's the only way to get my teenage boys to hang out with me. So I take them golfing and, like my son will have a great approach shot and he'll be on the green. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got a birdie putt. He's like, I'll miss it. I'm like, whoa, whoa. He's like, I know, Dad, I know. I should. I'm like, but it's true, right? That your thoughts become your things.
Making the putt.
So, I'm a daily meditator. I have, I do positive journaling. I try to be mindful.
I need to work on all this stuff.
But I haven't gone to the next level, frankly, because if we're being honest, I'm probably scared as to like what I'll find or where that will take me.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about your journey to Costa Rica because that's super intriguing to me. I have a peer out in California who did a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and he gave me his feedback from that. And I'm like, I started getting anxiety just thinking about it, but it's also exciting.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that journey.
Yeah, I mean, it was life-changing. It was incredible. I have to shout out my fiance because without him, I wouldn't have gone. We were talking about, how can I take this a step further? Once I recognized that these tools I was doing with these students in the classroom were working during COVID, I was like, I want to dive deeper. I want to learn more. I want to learn the science behind it. I want to figure out more tools. Like I was ready to really immerse myself in this and try to become this person for my students because I love mindfulness so much. I'm so passionate about it. So we went to Costa Rica. I did a 200-hour certification, and it was just such a different way of living out there. They really live life so slowly and so mindfully. Every night they go out and they watch the sunset. Everyone, like the whole world stops almost there, and they're going out and they're watching the sunset. They go to the beach, and everyone just watches the sunset at the same time, right? Even the dogs like roam free and they go to the beach. It's so funny, but everyone almost stops in that moment and are just sitting there being mindful, watching the sunset. And it's so incredible. And then the training, of course, was just trying to embody that slow living and that lifestyle and learning, the science behind it, of course, too. But it was mostly just practicing these tools yourself and getting deep, right? And it was incredible. It was a very incredible. It was hard. It was. That
was gonna be my next. How hard was it?
Yeah, it was hard because you're diving deep. So you're trying to, be the best version of yourself and chip away at those, maybe past traumas or whatever mental health that you've been dealing with that you subconsciously, because as humans, we're subconsciously taking things in our whole entire life, right? And we don't even recognize the way it can physically affect our bodies. It can affect our brains. So yeah, it was difficult, but it was so rewarding. Just being able to recognize that I could make the change in my brain, in my self-thoughts, in my own confidence. I'm not saying anxiety can be healed or depression can be healed from this, but it's a tool to help you regulate, your nervous system.
We talk about the positives on this podcast all the time of our area and the benefits and the pluses. And one thing that I think Scott and I definitely agree on is one of the things that's not so positive about our region or that we dislike the most is the rushness of it. We travel to different parts, even different parts of the United States. it is slower. It is more be present. You're not in such a rush to get from where you are now to the next
to grind
place.
Yeah.
And when you travel to different places, you're like, oh my gosh.
Why isn't it like this
we
everywhere?
just spent a
Why
week
are
in
we
Europe,
doing this to ourselves?
and our 18-year-old, we were in Europe for a week.
We were in Europe
and
for a
he's
week.
like, I don't like, it's so chill here. He was like bummed to go back home because he got used to everyone just being chill.
Yeah, exactly.
With things that were like, normally this would be like a big deal in America, but like no one seems to care.
So this is so beneficial for every human that lives in this area, because it's definitely something that our community is just wired this way. And it's so not healthy. It just isn't. So.
And even our students too, they go to school and they have practice after school, or they have band practice, or they have this or they have that. And by the time they get home, it's dark and, I have to do my homework. I have to do this. I have to do that. Everyone's in such a rush that it's important to teach them just to be with themselves, even if it's for 5-10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Even the way they talk. My daughter, 13 years old, she'll be 14 she talks so fast that half of the time I can't even understand what she's saying because she's just so...
Well, they also speak a different language.
Well, no, they don't. Well, Scott struggles with the
I don't
language.
understand half the words.
What did you just say? Translate.
Yeah, right.
6'7" is the big thing.
6'7",
right. Anyway, I'm just like, you need to take a breath. You need to take a breath, and you need to slow down so I can actually process like what you're saying.
Yes.
Like they are just so rushed in everything everything. So let's talk about what does success look like for like one of your students that really embraces emotional growth and mindset? Or if you have a specific example that you could give us or a story.
Yeah, I do. I think about this one student all the time. I'll refrain from using her name. But I had her in 7th grade and she was a COVID student, right? And she was dealing with horrible anxiety, horrible thoughts of self-harm. And it was interesting because in her religion, they don't believe in mental health or receiving help for mental health. So I felt stuck. I'm like, what can I do with this student who, to no fault of her own, just, what her parents grew up, their religion, what their beliefs, I can't seem to help her. So she was one of the inspirations for me to start bringing mindfulness into the classrooms. And so I started, teaching her breath work. When you're feeling these urges or when you're feeling this, let's try breathing instead. Let's do some EFT tapping. Let's try to do a 10-minute meditation at the end of the day just to clear your brain, clear your mind. And from 7th grade, she was almost never showing up to school. COVID hit, and then I completely lost, any contact I had with her. I was so worried about her. Came back to 9th grade learning, and she showed up, and I was able to follow these students, which is great, through COVID, within the program I was working for. She shows up to school. I was so excited to see her, but I could just tell her mental health was like at an all-time low. So we worked together like one-on-one on my own time. I was just working with her, just trying to teach her these tools. And she recently graduated, and she is going off to college now. And she just, it could bring tears to my eyes just seeing the change from even physically. She just seems lighter, right? She is so intelligent. She was showing up to school. Her attendance was almost non-existent too. She started showing up to school more. She was getting into her academics. She started playing volleyball again, which she quit at one point and then went back on the team. And it was incredible. It was a complete turnaround. And she wrote me a little letter when she graduated, just thanking me for the tools I taught her and for, spending time with her. And now she's off to college, and I feel like a proud mother, just like,
as you should.
She's amazing. So, I mean, she's just one example of many that I've had throughout the years that I've been able to see this turnaround, this change, because mindfulness is a practice. And I tell all of them this, you have to practice, right? Like an instrument or a sport, you have to practice. And the ones who do, and the ones who really, receive it well, it works, and it's incredible. It can be life-changing if you really, put your mind to it, because our minds are so strong.
Well, and it just sets the foundation, right? You've helped her set the foundation, right? She had to take what she learned and do it, right?
Yeah.
So for such a successful adulthood. And, we talk about in this country the issue we have like obesity, right? And so everyone knows that sugary drinks are bad. Everyone knows that candy and processed food is bad. How many people know what cortisol does to your body and your brain?
Yeah.
And, personally, I started doing some research because I'm under a lot of stress, right? I mean, it's all my own fault, but I put myself through, and I'm like, I wonder what my cortisol levels are, because I started looking at like the side effects, and I'm like, everything I'm dealing with, right? Yeah. Like lack of sleep, overweight, just fatigue. It's like cortisol. So, and we've joked, we're like, people that don't have kids in their 60s and 70s, they look young, right? Because they don't have high levels of cortisol. They're not stressed all the time, right? And so what you're helping these kids with is reducing those cortisol levels, which I don't even know if they realize that, but I mean, it's huge. It's the equivalent of just a healthy diet for your mind and then your body.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, you're right. It really doesn't. And like you said, you were a teacher, and it's just so curriculum based. There's no time to teach these things in school. So that's why I want to push into these schools, and no pressure on the teachers. You don't have to learn mindfulness. You don't have to do this. You're way too busy.
Yeah.
The social workers who have a stack of, students this long that they have to talk to. Let me come into the schools, right, and work with these students, teach them these mindfulness tools. If they work, great. If they don't, then we can, talk to the social worker, the therapist, and go from there. But I think having that buffer in the school systems to, one, take the burnout away from the employees who are also care about these students and wanting to talk to these students, that's huge. But just teaching our students to regulate their nervous systems, lower their cortisol levels, right? Like, it's not taught in health class. Let's teach them these tools that they can take with them, again, into their adulthood.
And for children now, even teachers need to realize this. Parents need to realize this. Social media is playing such a huge role in stress and self-awareness and in your brain.
It's a land of make-believe. It's literally filters and highlights.
It is probably the main reason for, the low confidence, the comparing themselves to the people they're seeing on social media. Like, the screen time overstimulates the nervous system in any way. So,
and I know that some parents and some adults they opt out. Like, okay, I'm not going to be on Facebook. I'm going to take a break. But honestly, for kids, it's crucial, because if they are not in that space, they're left out.
Kills them
so
socially.
it is so important that they have a way to deal with what they're experiencing, how they're feeling, how others are feeling. So, I mean, this is so important for every parent to hear, and every educator and every superintendent, that we need to support kids way more today than we did 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Because it's a totally different atmosphere.
Oh, 100%. I was doing research on screen time, and I saw this quote that blew my mind. It said, the same way babies rely on like their mothers or pacifiers or a blankie to self-soothe, our teenagers are relying on their phones.
Oh, for sure.
To self-soothe. And it's so incredible. I do see, my students, there's a few who don't have phones, and there's a few who do, many who do. And the students who don't have phones, just the difference in like the, their social skills and the lack of mental health. But again, you made a good point. Whenever I talk to my students about this, I'm like, your phone is making you feel bad. Why not do a little detox, right? Delete the apps for a week. Oh, I'm going to miss out. They have this fear of missing out. They have FOMO. They've got bad FOMO when it comes. And I mean, I get it. I was a teenager once, on the cusp of Instagram becoming a thing. So I cannot imagine growing up the way our teenagers are growing up, consumed with social media.
So it's interesting. We were just at a soccer game, and we're talking to a friend who's a social worker at a school, and our school is now having the cell phone lockers this year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll circle back around to that. But his school did it last year or 2 years ago.
Interesting.
Last year.
And he said the difference in, I don't want to say punishing, what's it called when you... Discipline,
or just
a student,
circumstances, incidents,
incidents
in the school
drastically
really?
Without the
cell phones.
because
I'm not surprised.
these kids aren't even seeing each other, but they're snapping, texting, whatever, and things that have brewed from the night before then come into the school.
Exactly.
And he's like, all that is gone now. And I do want to take a shot at us as parents and our generation, because I struggle with this whole, everyone gets a trophy, everyone wins trophy. Who's buying the trophies?
Yeah.
These kids aren't buying the trophies, right? We're the ones buying the trophies and letting everyone win, right?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the problem is us. And so I come back to the cell phones, the cell phones being taken away from our kids this coming fall in our school. I haven't heard a single kid complain about it. Do you know who's losing their mind?
The parents.
The parents. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we're lazy, right? Because they want to be able to text them, hey, do this, or I'll get you, whatever, instead of going through or just letting them, I don't know, figure it out themselves, right, in school. So, I don't know. So here's the question. I'm going to put you on the spot. Where are we failing as parents? Like our kids, seriously, like what do you see where we could be better? It starts with us, right, as parents to help our kids with this stuff.
This is a really good question, and I think it all goes back to just being present with your kids, right? Being present with your kids and slowing down in a life that is so hard to do that. This one has this sport, this one has this appointment to go to. It is so hard. But carving time, whether you're sitting at dinner together, if that's possible, putting your phones away, and just having conversation at the dinner table could be huge. I know it's a lot easier said than done to do these things, but it is very important for their development and just for being present with your family. And whether it's having dinner phone free, whether it's getting outside and going for a family walk, just get back to the roots of, I know it was a different time when we grew up, but I ask some of my students all the time, like, what do you do for fun? Are you playing outside? No. Get outside and play outside and just try your very best to be present with your kids and have conversations with them. And I've had this idea of a journal that I want to create for parents and kids to write back and forth to one another. We're in the process of creating it now because it can be hard and life can be busy, but it's important to know what are your children going through? What are they dealing with? And sometimes it's easier for them to write than it is to speak. Mm-hmm. So having this journal to pass back and forth to mom and dad, right, with these prompts in them that are designed to get deep and to sort of be present and to get comfortable together. And then have little mindfulness challenges, if you will. Like, let's go outside and take a mindful walk together.
See, and one thing that my kids have learned, it's so hard for me, like when I focus, like if I have my computer out and I'm typing an email or I'm working on something, don't come talk to me and tell me something because I cannot pay attention to you right now. And you're going to tell me this, and then you're going to get mad at me later in the day when I ask you a question. They're going to be like, I told you this. I'm like, well, I was not in the situation where I could totally be present with you.
Yes.
That at times I think as parents we need to do that as well, is just say, hold that thought or shut the computer and be present for your child and then go back to what you're working on.
That was one positive from COVID is we developed forced family fun. we forced the kids and we played games together.
I know.
For
try to get back to those roots, even if it's once a week, right?
So my question kind of goes along with this. For parents or educators listening, what's one simple thing they can do today to help a young person start developing emotional awareness or mindfulness? One simple thing.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I would say to them to not be afraid to just feel your emotions, to feel, like you were saying earlier, your anxiety, because these are very important for our emotional awareness, our emotional development. Our kids are so emotionally intelligent. So for parents and educators, don't think that they really can't understand because they're too young. They're a lot more emotionally intelligent than you might think. So not having to, dumb things down for our kids. They're so smart.
Yeah.
Just,
they really are.
Talk to them like they're, adults and figure out, the root of what it is that you're dealing with and just be there as someone that they can,
that is
talk to.
So important because I remember when I was teaching, I would come home and I would talk to Scott like a first grader and he would get so I'm not one of your students. Don't talk to me like that. And that's what our kids are probably feeling too.
Shockingly,
like,
our
don't
relationship
talk to me like I'm a
went
child.
to the next level when you stopped
Relate
working.
to me like an adult, and then it might make them more open to it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's great.
The other thing too is probably the worst question at the dinner table is, what'd you learn in school today? Or what'd you do in school today? Right? Learn nothing, right? So I started doing the reverse. I'm like, what was the worst part of your day?
Yeah.
And and actually they're quicker to respond to that, and it becomes like this. All right, maybe that's something we should dive into.
Yeah.
So put that in the journal.
Mm-hmm. I will. Okay. I love that. I will. Write it down.
The other thing too, and Jay's been with me at career days. I always tell him, I'm like, I'm an insurance agent, but that's not what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about is mindset, critical thinking, discernment, that negative self-talk, that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, pretty enough. But I ultimately get to this formula of E plus R equals O, which is the event plus your response equals the outcome. And we all think the event is what's good or bad, you know, and I share with them, like, we literally, if you think about it, have almost no control over any of the events that happen in our life. So the event happens. The outcome is determined by your response to it, and we have to figure our life out in 3-second pauses. And so when we talk about mindfulness and deep breath work, it's like the event happened, and then it's like,
yes.
right? That 3 seconds, pause, collect yourself. How am I going to respond? Because that is the outcome. And too often we just snap into that immediate response, and then that's where regret comes in or things escalate. So yeah, it's
this is truly Scott's passion. It's like how you work your.
I'm
your
going
mind,
to Costa Rica
for sure.
You should, please do.
And I
highly recommend.
It really is. It pertains to everything in life: your career, your family, your everything. I mean, and it's so funny. He does these workshops at Frankfurt where your key phrase is "so what, now what." Yeah. And our son, who graduated this year, they asked him for a senior quote, and it was too funny. Yeah, so what, now what? Scott, great. And all the kids are like, "Yeah, that's great." Yeah. Like, it is.
Well, that was the mantra. So Little League. This is your interview, but the greatest job I ever had was unpaid. Right? I was the Little League coach for a few years of my son's team, and the last year I had him, we hadn't won the championship. We'd come close, and I'm like, you know, we just went in deep into mental work, starting in the preseason, and we did the whole E plus R equals O. And you know, what sport? Baseball. I mean, it's like it's just you, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like you messed up. We know you messed up.
Right,
you know,
right.
You're the one that struck out. You didn't catch the ball. Right? You're not hiding from that, right? And so it became like, so what? Now what?
I love
right?
That.
Put it behind you. What are you gonna do? So yeah, when he put it in the yearbook, that was cool.
That's huge.
So we are down with your mission.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What do you got? The book. I want to talk about the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
I published 4. It is an expensive business card, right? But it hopefully will lead you to, you know, something else.
Yeah.
So talk about what's the book about, who's it for, what's your goal with it?
Yeah, well, it's the journal that I was telling you about.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So
it's like a workbook, right?
It's a workbook.
Okay.
Because I've noticed too, you know, with my students, sometimes it's difficult for them to put into words what it is they're going through, right? And when I talk to the parents and the caregivers, it's also hard for them to talk to their own children. For some reason, they're like, I don't know why, but my kid won't talk to me about this, so I think they'll talk to you about it.
Right? It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. So coming up with these prompts, coming up with the different little challenges, mindfulness challenges, get outside and go for a 10-minute walk with, you know, your parent, and just urging and, you know, wanting the parents and the children to go deep together, because it can be hard and it can be awkward to do that sometimes, like with your own parent or your own caregiver. So to make that relationship a little bit more comfortable through this journal is my goal. Because time and time again, I've had parents who even work as a yoga instructor or who work as a psychologist. I've had parents who are doing this type of work, but for some reason their children just won't talk to them about it. So trying to create a more comfortable way for them to do so.
Mikelle, we're gonna do a to be continued off camera. I've got dive into a few things with
sure,
you. Yeah. But for now, let's we finish all these with our rapid fire questions. We tried to keep them light, fun, funny. Tough topic to do that, I think.
Okay.
We'll see how I did.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the first one a lot.
I like the first one a lot too. Most peaceful spot in the 315.
Oh, good one. We have plenty. I don't want to give away our secret family spot.
No, don't. Well,
okay.
You don't have to do that.
I want you to.
Well, I will have to say, is Adirondacks 315?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, parts of it. Yeah,
Racket Lake.
close enough.
We grew up in Racket Lake, our camp up there. Really great spot. The loons, very meditative. The lake, beautiful. Racket Lake.
Okay. Good answer. Your go-to mantra or affirmation?
I always tell my students when they say negative things about themselves, they're like, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you can.
Yoga on the beach or hiking in the woods?
Yoga on the beach.
One local business everyone should know about.
I'm going to talk, actually, Young Scholars Liberty Partnerships Program. I love them. I love what they do. I love their mission.
Who funds that?
Utica University.
Oh, cool.
Or they have donors too.
Okay.
Yeah, we
but
can
it's
talk more
through.
about it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
What's a self-care ritual you swear by, but your friends think is crazy?
Okay. A little castor oil in the belly button is good for you.
I have been thinking about doing this. I'm so
it's
glad
your
you
sign.
said that.
That's your
Oh my
sign.
God, it's all over my TikTok. I'm definitely
not
getting
on
it now.
TikTok.
Castor oil in the belly button.
Okay, I'm buying the roller. I'm doing it.
Wait.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to know about this.
Yes.
What does it do?
It kind of detoxes your body, which
I could
is
use.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, it helps with
Anyone.
I should
bloating.
probably
It
just take a
helps
bath
with
in
like.
castor oil.
There's also a wrap you can use.
Oh yeah, you can use the wrap and
The
put it
wrap,
around you if you put it
castor
on.
oil.
Yeah,
Castor
I
oil,
know.
honestly, anywhere and everywhere, to
Yep.
be honest, for me.
A lot of people use it on their face
Yep.
too.
Mhm.
For sure.
What
Oh
is
my
it?
God, it's an oil.
It's
Is
an
it a
oil.
cooking
It's a
oil?
natural.
No, don't cook with it.
No, it's not a cooking oil.
It's an essential oil.
He's gonna go home and start rubbing olive
No.
oil and vegetable oil.
Yes. Yes.
Motor oil.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
I know we're in the middle of rapid fire, but we never got to the tapping.
Oh,
And I am interested in
yes.
this.
I can show you my favorite mindfulness technique and tool.
Okay.
I use this with my students all the time. It's great for reframing negative thoughts to positive. Anyone can do it. Very simple. So it takes psychotherapy and it takes acupuncture pressure points and it kind of puts them together to regulate your nervous system. So if you practice it every day, your nervous system will regulate. So we can do it together. So you're going to take your two hands like this and you're going to karate chop like this. Yep. Cameraman's doing it too. I love
Both
it.
sides.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cameraman.
And then you're going to take your two fingers here and you're going to tap the top of your eyebrows here, right? And while you're doing it, when you're having like a negative thought or when you're feeling negative about yourself, you have to reframe it to a positive. So like my students, I can't do this, you know.
you can.
Yes, you can. I am capable. I am confident. I can do this, right? To the side, right? Like your temples, okay? The next one's my favorite, under the eye. So now we can say, I can do it, right? I am capable. I am strong. I am successful. I am smart. I am kind, right? Do some nice deep breaths. Don't forget to breathe. And then under your nose, top of your lip. And then your chin. And then you're going to go like to your collarbone here, right?
I'm gonna be doing this in bed before. I go to bed
Yes,
every
please
night, I bet
do.
you.
I'll send you a little chart so you remember the points.
Yep.
And then you go under the arm, like right under the armpit. My students always giggle at this part, but it's okay.
I was thinking.
Yep. And then under the arm too. And then you finish top of your head or your crown, top of your head. And the more you do this, right, you can do it in sessions. You can do it with breath work. You can do it with affirmations. Your nervous system starts to feel like, do you feel any calmer now?
I do. You just have made me calm, though, you know.
Yeah. So the more you practice it, that really does regulate your nervous system. That's a huge tool I use with my students. Love that one.
Glad I asked.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Now we'll make a weird transition
Yeah.
into our last rapid fire question. So, which do you find more difficult, getting a book published or raising a 1-year-old?
Getting a book published. 'Cause our girl is great. She really is. But yeah, she's great. She's very curious. She gets into everything, but we love it. We thrive in it.
Well,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah. She's been doing her deep breaths too, which is really cute. So if she's like frustrated, like trying to fit a block into a toy,
Really?
I'm like, deep breath. Saviana should go.
Oh my God, you guys are so
You're gonna have the best
better.
child.
I hope.
You're such better
You're
parents.
gonna have the best
I
child.
feel like such a loser parent right now.
We're
My-
gonna be the best
My
grandparents
kid's home
ever.
on TikTok right now, wondering why
We-
she's not pretty enough.
We are going to be the best grandparents ever. We are going to be so
Yes,
in
right?
tune to
Hey,
mindfulness.
We'll get a
That's
second
also
shot.
a testament to it's never too early to start and it's never too late to start.
Yep.
Really.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mikelle Deck, Aligned Minds Consulting. How do people find you? How do they connect with you? How do they follow you?
We are on Facebook at Aligned Minds Consulting. We are on TikTok at aligned.minds. And then we are on Instagram at alignedminds111. I couldn't get Aligned Minds all throughout. But yeah. And then, yeah, our website too. You can reach me directly on our website, alignedmindsconsulting.com. Send me a message, send me a consultation, whatever you need to do. I will answer. I'm there.
Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun. Appreciate
Yes,
you coming
thank
in.
you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.